The golden years of your life should be filled with contentment, wisdom, and joy. Yet so many Americans over 60 find themselves carrying invisible weights, burdens they've been holding on to for decades. These emotional anchors prevent them from experiencing the peace they've earned through a lifetime of experiences, both beautiful and difficult. Life has taught us many lessons, but perhaps the most important one is this. True happiness doesn't come from holding on. It comes from knowing what to let go. After 6 decades on this earth, you've accumulated not just memories and relationships, but also habits that once served you but now only create suffering. Today, we're going to explore 3 powerful life patterns that may be stealing your peace, and most importantly, how releasing them can transform your remaining years into the most fulfilling of your life. Whether you're dealing with old wounds, draining relationships, or the weight of past decisions, remember this: it's never too late to choose peace. Your journey toward a lighter, more meaningful existence begins right here, right now. Let's discover together how letting go can become your greatest act of self-love. The first habit to release: carrying the heavy weight of past regrets. Margaret from Portland sat in her favorite armchair last Tuesday morning, staring out at the rain. At 72, she found herself thinking about David, the man she almost married 45 years ago, the letter she never sent, the conversation they never had, the life they never shared. These thoughts had been her constant companions for decades, robbing her of countless peaceful moments. Does Margaret's story sound familiar? If you're over 60, chances are you carry similar burdens. We all have those moments that replay in our minds like old movie reels. Decisions we wish we could remake, words we wish we had spoken, opportunities we let slip through our fingers like sand. But here's the truth that can set you free. Dwelling on the past doesn't change it. It only steals the beauty and potential of your present moment. Every minute you spend rehashing yesterday's mistakes is a minute stolen from today's possibilities. Your regrets are not serving you. They're imprisoning you. Consider this. Can you change the past? The answer is simple. No. But you have complete control over how you carry those experiences forward. Every regret you hold represents something beautiful about your humanity. It means you cared deeply, you tried your best, and you lived authentically. Instead of seeing these moments as failures, what if you viewed them as proof of your courage to engage with life? Think about Robert from Dallas, who spent 30 years regretting not going to law school. He carried that decision like a stone in his chest until one day he realized something profound. The path he chose led him to become a master carpenter who built homes for young families. His regret had blinded him to the beauty of what he actually accomplished. The key to releasing regret lies in reframing your story. Instead of asking, "What if I had done differently?" ask, "What did this experience teach me?" When you transform regret into wisdom, it loses its power to hurt you. You begin to see that every choice, every mistake, every missed opportunity contributed to making you the person you are today. Imagine you've been carrying a heavy suitcase filled with all your regrets. You've lugged it through airports, upstairs, down streets for years, decades even. Your shoulders ache, your back hurts, and you're exhausted. But what if you simply set that suitcase down? Feel the weight lift from your shoulders, the relief flooding your body. That's the freedom waiting for you when you choose to release regret. To begin this transformation, start with these gentle steps. First, acknowledge your regrets without judgment. Sit quietly and say to yourself, "Yes, this happened, and it's part of my story, but it doesn't control my future." Second, write down what you learned from each experience. Turn your pain into wisdom by recognizing how it shaped your character and deepened your compassion. Third, focus on the gift of today. The past is behind you, but this moment, right now, is yours to enjoy and direct. Remember, dear friend, your past is not your prison. It's simply one chapter in a much larger, still unfolding story. The most beautiful pages might still be unwritten. You deserve to experience this stage of life with a light heart and clear mind. Let go of those heavy regrets and make room for peace. Today is a new beginning. You still have so much to offer, so much to experience, so much joy to discover. Don't let yesterday's decisions rob you of tomorrow's possibilities. The time to live fully is right now. The second habit to abandon: maintaining relationships that drain your soul. At 67, Eleanor from Chicago found herself dreading Sunday dinners. Every week, her sister Patricia would arrive full of complaints, criticisms, and endless drama. Patricia never asked about Eleanor's life, never showed interest in her grandchildren's achievements, never offered support during Eleanor's recent health challenges. Yet Eleanor continued these weekly gatherings out of obligation. Feeling more exhausted and resentful after each encounter, Eleanor's situation illustrates a challenging truth many face in their golden years. Not every relationship deserves a permanent place in your life. As we age, we gain clarity about what truly matters, yet many people continue maintaining connections that drain their energy and disturb their peace. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about recognizing that your time and emotional energy are precious resources that should be invested wisely. After decades of giving to others, caring for families, and maintaining social obligations, isn't it time to protect your own well-being? Consider your relationships like a garden. Some people in your life are like beautiful flowers. They bring color, joy, and life to your days. They listen when you speak, offer support during difficult times, and celebrate your victories. Others, unfortunately, are like weeds. They may not be obviously harmful, but they quietly steal nutrients from your garden, choking out the beautiful growth that could flourish in their absence. Take James from Seattle, who maintained a friendship with his college roommate for 50 years. Every phone call left James feeling criticized and small. His friend constantly bragged about his wealth while dismissing James's accomplishments as a teacher. James held on to this relationship because of history, not because it brought him joy. When he finally stepped back, he discovered he had more energy for relationships that actually nourished him. The fear of loneliness often keeps us tethered to draining relationships. But here's what experience teaches us: it's better to have a few meaningful connections than many superficial ones. Quality always trumps quantity when it comes to relationships that matter. So how do you identify which relationships to release? Start by paying attention to how you feel after spending time with different people. Do you leave feeling energized or depleted? Do they show genuine interest in your life? Or do conversations always revolve around their problems? Do they support your dreams and celebrate your achievements? Or do they minimize your experiences? The process of letting go doesn't have to be dramatic or confrontational. Sometimes it's as simple as gradually reducing contact, not initiating conversations as often, or politely declining invitations that you know will leave you feeling drained. You might feel guilt at first. This is natural. But as you create space in your life, you'll notice something wonderful happening: room for relationships that truly matter. When you release connections that no longer serve you, you create space for deeper bonds with people who appreciate and value you. You might reconnect with old friends who bring you joy, or discover new friendships with people who share your interests and values. You'll have more energy for your family, more time for activities you love, and more peace in your daily life. Remember, choosing to step back from draining relationships isn't selfish. It's self-care. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to care for yourself with the same devotion. You deserve to spend your remaining years surrounded by people who lift you up, not tear you down. Life is too short to waste on relationships that make you feel small or insignificant. Choose connections that celebrate who you are, support who you're becoming, and add richness to your days. When you do, you'll find that your heart feels lighter and your life feels infinitely more peaceful. The third habit to release: the poison of resentment and unforgiveness. Dorothy from Oklahoma carried anger for 23 years. Her daughter Linda had said harsh words during a family argument, words that cut deep and never seemed to heal. Every family gathering became a performance of politeness, hiding a wound that never stopped aching. Dorothy thought that holding on to her hurt protected her somehow. that it proved how deeply she had been wounded. But the only person suffering from this choice was Dorothy herself. Resentment is perhaps the heaviest burden we carry as we age. It's the silent thief that steals our joy, disrupts our sleep, and clouds our perspective on life. Many older adults carry these emotional wounds like badges of honor, proof of how they've been wronged. But the truth is more difficult. Resentment hurts the one holding it far more than the person it's directed toward. Think of resentment as grasping a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone who hurt you. But you're the one getting burned. Day after day, year after year. The person who wronged you may have moved on completely, while you remain trapped in that moment of pain, reliving it endlessly. The cost of unforgiveness goes beyond emotional pain. Medical research shows that chronic anger and resentment contribute to high blood pressure, heart disease, depression, and compromised immune function. Your body literally pays the price for emotional wounds you refuse to heal. At this stage of life, when health becomes increasingly precious, can you afford to let resentment continue damaging you? Consider Frank from Denver, who held a grudge against his former business partner for 15 years. Frank's partner had made decisions that cost their company significant money. Leading to its closure, Frank spent years rehearsing imaginary confrontations, telling anyone who would listen about the betrayal. But Frank was the one living with constant stress. While his former partner had started a new business and seemed perfectly content, finally, Frank realized he was serving a life sentence for someone else's crime. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending it was acceptable. It doesn't require reconciliation or renewed relationship with those who hurt you. Forgiveness is simply the decision to release the grip that resentment has on your heart. It's choosing your own peace over the desire for revenge or justice. This process is equally important when it comes to forgiving yourself. Many older adults carry guilt about parenting mistakes, career decisions, or words spoken in anger. You might replay these moments endlessly, thinking, if only I had done better, been smarter, been kinder. But here's the compassionate truth. You did the best you could with the knowledge, resources, and emotional capacity you had at that time. Self-forgiveness requires the same courage as forgiving others. It means acknowledging your humanity, accepting your imperfections, and treating yourself with the same kindness you would show a dear friend facing similar struggles. The path to forgiveness begins with recognizing the pain honestly. Say to yourself, this happened, it hurt me deeply, but I refuse to let it control my peace anymore. Then make a conscious choice to release the anger, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve freedom from this burden. Some people find it helpful to write letters they never send, expressing all their hurt and anger, then symbolically burning or burying these letters as an act of release. Others prefer quiet meditation, visualizing themselves setting down the weight of resentment. Find the approach that feels authentic to you. Remember Alice from Atlanta, who forgave her ex-husband after 30 years of bitter resentment over their divorce? She didn't do it for him, she did it for herself and her children. Almost immediately, Alice noticed her shoulders felt lighter, her sleep improved, and she had energy for activities she had abandoned years earlier. Forgiveness gave her back her life. Forgiveness is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing practice. Some days the resentment might try to return, and that's normal. Simply acknowledge it and choose again to let it go. Each time you make this choice, you strengthen your ability to live in peace. Your golden years are meant for joy, not suffering. Every day you spend nursing old wounds is a day stolen from potential happiness. Choose forgiveness, not because anyone else deserves it, but because you deserve the freedom it brings. Let go of the burning coal of resentment and watch how quickly your life begins to heal. Final thoughts. Embracing the freedom of letting go. The journey toward peace in your later years doesn't require you to add more to your life. It requires the wisdom to know what to remove. By releasing these 3 destructive habits, carrying regrets from the past, maintaining draining relationships, and holding on to resentment, you create space for what truly matters: joy, love, and meaningful connection. Letting go is not about giving up or becoming passive. It's about choosing where to invest your precious energy and attention. When you stop carrying yesterday's mistakes, you have more capacity for today's opportunities. When you step back from relationships that diminish you, you make room for connections that celebrate you. When you release resentment, you free your heart to love again, starting with yourself. Martha from Phoenix recently shared her transformation. At 74, she decided to forgive her estranged son, stop dwelling on her late husband's final illness, and distance herself from a friend who constantly criticized her choices. 6 months later, she described feeling 20 years younger. She had energy for gardening again, started volunteering at the local library, and even began dating a widower from her church. Your story can have a similar transformation. The habits we've discussed may have served you once. Perhaps they protected you from further hurt or helped you cope with difficult circumstances. But now they're anchors keeping you from sailing freely into the peaceful waters of your golden years. Change at any age requires courage. But you've already proven your courage by living, surviving, and learning from decades of experience. You have the wisdom to distinguish between what serves you and what harms you. Trust that wisdom. Trust yourself. Start small if these changes feel overwhelming. Choose one regret to reframe this week. Set a boundary with one draining person. Forgive one old hurt. Each small step creates momentum toward the larger goal of inner peace. Remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story. The chapters you've already lived have given you character, depth, and wisdom. But the chapters still to come can be filled with whatever you choose: peace instead of turmoil, joy instead of resentment, love instead of loneliness. Your remaining years are not just time to be endured, they're gifts to be treasured. Don't let the shadows of yesterday block the sunshine of today. Let go of what no longer serves you and watch how quickly life begins to feel lighter. If this message speaks to your heart, I encourage you to share it with others who might benefit from these insights. Leave a comment about your own journey of letting go, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more guidance on living peacefully in your golden years. The time for peace is now. The freedom of letting go awaits you. Your journey toward a lighter, more meaningful life begins with a simple choice. Release what no longer serves you and embrace the beautiful possibilities that remain.